The peak of my childhood. No other game is near and dear to my heart as MonsterLab. Released in November 2008 by Backbone Entertainment, it was released on PlayStation 2, Nintendo DS, and the Wii, which I owned and played the PlayStation 2 version of the game that I also happen to still own and love. This game is without a doubt on my top 5 games list of all time. I mean, I played this game so much as a kid. That is until my PlayStation 2 broke. I cannot tell you how devastated I was when that happened. After I lost my PlayStation 2, it was goodbye to this game until I bought another one many years later. But for those who don't know what this game is, if you've never heard of it, it's described as a Pokemon meets Tim Burton, which isn't exactly far off, though I describe this game more as a Pokemon meets Mario Party, and we'll get to why that is later in the video. The game's story follows you, the protagonist, who wants to become a mad scientist. It takes place in a world where mad scientists are seen as celebrities, and they build their careers on the monsters they make. In this world, there's the Mad Science Alliance, which are the most famous mad scientists in the world. Each member represents a different area of mad science, being mechanical, biological, and alchemical. There were 4 members of the Alliance until one of them, Baron Marty, decided he wanted to rule the world with an iron fist. After this betrayal, the Alliance disassembled. Enter the protagonist much time later who wants to become the apprentice of Fuseless. Fuseless teaches you the basics of creating monsters and battling with them. With having this knowledge, you set out to recruit the other 2 members of the Alliance, and plan to stop Marty's monster. The gameplay of this game is super fun, yet can be also challenging at times. In order to craft monster parts, you have to complete minigames. This is where the game gets its Mario Party feel from. Depending on how well you do in these minigames determines how great the part is that turns out. The difficulty for these minigames can get very challenging, to the point where it seems almost impossible to get a 100% quality rating at a max difficulty minigame. The next aspect of this game's gameplay is creating monsters. With the parts that you create, you can assemble monsters that you use to battle with. Each part has a type to it, being mechanical, biological, or alchemical. Depending on your monster's parts, depends on what your monster can do in battle. Your monster can attack using its head, legs, and arms. During battle, if one of your body parts reaches 0 integrity, your monster loses that part until you repair it or return to HQ. If your monster loses all its body parts or its torso reaches 0 integrity, then your monster dies and you retreat back to HQ. During combat, the types that your monster's body parts are will determine its effectiveness in battle, whether it be mechanical, biological, or alchemical, that act as a rock, paper, scissors formula. Basically a watered down Pokemon. Every time you defeat a monster, you get material, which these materials are used to craft more new monster parts. You won't be able to craft biological or alchemical parts until you recruit the members of the Alliance that represent those. Every part in this game has a recipe to it, which you discover through trial and error of mixing ingredients together. The game also featured an online mode, which was only exclusive to the Wii version of the game. PlayStation 2 version and Nintendo DS never saw the addition of an online mode or had it on launch. In this online mode, you could actually battle your monsters with other people's. The characters you encounter in this game are both cool in design, comical, and diverse. Zig is definitely the most diverse character in this game, in my opinion, seeing how he is a literal alien. He actually reminds me a lot of Jocko from Dragon Ball. But the game's characters that you encounter are few, mainly because majority of the characters you do encounter in this game are enemies that are just randomized in appearance with no lines of dialogue. The game itself is pretty short. It only features 6 levels. The bosses in this game though are super cool to me, specifically Crake in the Neverglades. This boss just looks sick, and it's my favorite type of monster in the game, being completely biological. I think it's pretty funny his one arm is something he has to wake up to spit at you with. I mean, just a little tumor dude. Honestly, I'd have to say that pretty much all the bosses in this game are pretty well designed and cool. The levels in this game all feel pretty unique to each other aesthetic-wise, with the Neverglades being my favorite for not only its boss, but its characters, side quests, and overall aesthetic. The game was received really well in reviews, and people are still talking about it today, which makes me happy to see that this game hasn't just faded into obscurity. Something I'd love to see would be a remake or a remaster for this game on current-gen consoles. I think the game could definitely use more content with being a short experience by adding in more levels and monster parts, and characters to interact with that actually have lines of dialogue in set designs to them. Having an online component already lays down the groundwork for a remake or a remaster. Perhaps they could even improve on the online by adding in monster parts that are exclusive for how well you do in the online mode. I have to say my favorite minigame in this game is actually the head one in the Alchemical Workshop. It's exactly like Guitar Hero. It's insanely fun for me. I grew up playing a lot of Guitar Hero, so to see a minigame in this game be very similar was just really fun to play a lot. But that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to leave a like and hit subscribe, and let me know down in the comments if you remember playing this game. Till we meet again, stay freaky.